Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. My name's Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Marcy.
Hello.
We're back. I don't know why. I've been thinking about it all day when I realized when the Stanley Cup Finals would start. I felt like we would have absolutely nothing current, unless some news starts happening real fast. We would have absolutely nothing to talk about on Thursday's episode.
Well, if we just turn into one of Leafs rumors, gossip blogs.
Oh God, no! I do not want to turn into a Leafs gossip. I do not want to talk about potential trades for Mitch Marner.
We'll just do an hour and a half of that.
I'd actually, genuinely would quit. Would quit. Maybe, I don't know. I think if I put this at the start of the show, then people who only listen to the first 35 minutes, because I can see how long people listen to the show before they stop listening. So I'm like, okay, if I pack this into the first 5 minutes of the show, people who only listen to the first 35 will maybe be able to help us out here. If you have any suggestions for what we should talk about on Thursday's show, because we will not have any actual hockey to talk about, and what I mean actual hockey is there genuinely is not any hockey being played between now and June 8th in any league at all. Unless you count your dad's beer league. I am not talking about your dad's beer league, but everything, literally there's...
Do you know how bad it's gonna get? If we want to talk about something hockey related on Thursday, we're gonna have to talk about the results of my field hockey summer league, which is on Wednesday night.
See, we cannot do that. So if you have any suggestions for anything that you want us to talk about, maybe it's specifics with free agency, specific with drafts, anything, let us know. Please. Drop it in the replies of the tweet for this episode, or DM us. I think we even have a little Q&A box on Spotify. Drop it there. Email us if you really want to get old-fashioned with it, because if not, yeah, I don't know, because I'm looking at this and I'm did not think when we talked about when the Stanley Cup Finals were going to start last episode. TBH, thought both of these series would have gone to Game 7s. Will admit, thought they were going to go to Game 7s. They did not. So I also think the NHL thought that as well when they were making that schedule. So yeah. In that case, anyways, that out of the way, it makes us look really bad that we're asking people to give us ideas for what to talk about, but can you blame us?
Nothing.
There is nothing. And I refuse to talk about mock Mitch Marner trades. I refuse to open Cat Friendly and look at the armchair GM mock trades. Can't do that. Refuse.
For Emma's sake, please send something in.
My sanity.
Start talking about movies. I'm gonna start talking about my Letterboxd account.
Yeah, and then it's just gonna be
end the podcast.
That'll be it. That's the thing, because it's that's the thing. When we do this sort of show in the way that we've structured it, in terms of having set days where we record, is because if it was up to me, I would have not put out an episode today and put out an episode on Wednesday. That's just me. And then we only did one episode this week, but I digress. But also as well, I'm free agency and the draft and that whole weekend is very dangerous. It's a very very scary dates on my calendar that I am so afraid of, because it's the thing where it's my boyfriend was hey, what are you doing July 1st? And I looked at him as if he had grown a second head. I was what do you mean, what am I doing July 1st? I am going to be glued to my couch with my laptop open, with my iPad going, with Twitter on my phone, and Sportsnet Trade Center on my TV. It's going to be an absolute, I'm going to be sitting there with a notebook, writing things down. Crazy. And he was like, well, you know, like if you're free, like I'm gonna have some friends over that night for like Canada's Day. I was like, I'll see. I'll see how like mentally sane I am for that.
It's like if you're free, and it's like, no, I'm actually like preemptively like planning out an evening of just crying on the couch because a player I love is gone.
Yeah, no, like that's what it is. And it's also as well, like it's like I don't even know, like I'm going home that weekend because my sister's like high school graduation is that weekend as well. I have like tickets to go see Niall Horan. Like, right? So I have to go home for that. And so then I'm like, okay, so but then I have like class on Tuesday morning at 8:30. So I'm like trying to figure out like, okay, so when do I like plan this? Like how do I plan, like do I come back home like Sunday night so that way I'm like not on the train on Monday? Because I've been like the past two Leafs press conferences, if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been battling this one section of the Via Rail, like from like Ottawa to Toronto. There's this one section just outside of Smith Falls, which means nothing to no one, that has little to no service. Therefore, not like, you know, I can't refresh Twitter. I can't get like a stream to work or anything like that. Like it's like, oh, only the 5 downloaded like true crime podcast episodes I can listen to. Like right in this time. And the past two Leaf press conferences have like taken place while I've been in this like section of the train journey.
Really,
and I can't win. So like that's the thing. I'm so nervous if I'm like even if I'm on the first train, it'll be like 10:30 when I hit that section. And I'm like, if I'm in that section and a signing drops on July 1st at like 10:30 in the morning, which is very, very common, I need to be institutionalized when I get off that train. Like right away, pick me up from the train station, take me right in.
You just get off the train and you'll be like, you have to get someone to help you, and you'll just be like, I can't do this.
I also like feel like no one, like my reactions should not be witnessed by anybody else.
No.
No one should be watching me go through those emotions, especially not on like a train, an enclosed space. Those reactions are for like Twitter only. But yeah, so we're anyway, still trying to figure that out. But anyways, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do on Thursday. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll have a guest on. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to figure that out. We have like what, 2 days?
It's not loads of time.
We'll figure it out. I think we have people. I think we have people who we've had on the show before who would probably love to come back on and will give us something to talk about for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think we'll figure it out. We'll sort something out. We'll still have an episode on Thursday. I'm sure there's going to be some monumental news that is going to drop between now and Thursday that's going to solve all our problems.
Yeah, like we need something big, something dramatic. We need the drama.
Yeah, speaking of drama, not really drama, but the Stanley Cup final is set. Both the Panthers and the Oilers won their respective game 6s of their series, meaning they won their series. So that means, you know, for the first time since 2021, a Canadian team is going to the Stanley Cup final. And for the 5th time since 2020, for the 5th year in a row, so since 2019.
Oh my god, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah. That's how long it's, yeah, because it was Stanley Cup final, because the Stanley Cup final for St. Louis was like St. Louis and Tampa. A Florida team is going to the Stanley Cup final.
Florida.
But yeah, so the Florida Panthers are going back to the Stanley Cup final. So that's the last time they've been in the Stanley Cup final. It's the first time Edmonton, however, is in the Stanley Cup final since 2006. My sister was born in 2006. She, again, aforementioned, is graduating from high school in about a month, and had her prom last weekend. If that makes anyone feel old.
Do you want to know what really makes me feel old? My sister's 18th birthday was last month. That's and she was born in 2006. Oh,
yeah,
that's so long ago.
Oh, no, I don't want the wiki page. So that one was Edmonton Oilers lost to the Carolina Hurricanes. But let's play a game of who was on that. Which names from that team do I recognize? Hey, Leafs legend Michael Pekka. Remember, I know that name.
Oh.
Leafs legend Michael Pekka, who was there for who played 35 games for Toronto.
Woo!
Hold on, here we go. Chris Pronger. I'm trying. Steve Staios. I'm trying to figure out who's the goalies were. Mike Morrison played 21 games. Goalie. Who were the goalies for this team? Oh, okay. Dwayne Rolison. Who also who played for Tampa. I was about to say it. I was like, no, he wasn't a Leaf. But anyways, doesn't matter. I'm trying, and there's a handful of names that I can that exist in my brain where I'm like, hey, I remember that guy. There isn't very many, however. But yeah, that's how long it's been.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Anyways, that's how long it's been. But anyways, like I said, good for them. I don't know. It also, fun fact, is the furthest distance between two cities who have played each other in the Stanley Cup final. I had a lot of people arguing. I not had a lot of people. I saw a lot of people being like, well, what about Vancouver and Boston? It's as if you were to fly a plane directly between these two locations, it is the furthest. Edmonton and Florida. How fun!
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Lovely.
And then there's
gravel.
And this is exactly why we have multiple days off between games for this series. This is exactly why. I don't know why we but yeah, so game 1 is June 8th in Florida at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Which I guess is a time zone that works for both cities fairly well. It's 6 p.m. in Edmonton. It's 8 p.m. in Florida. Okay. I don't know. It also is the first time that top 4 draft picks of any single draft have all played in the Stanley Cup final, which is the top 4 draft picks of the 2014 draft, which is a fun little fact. Underratedly top heavy top 4. I don't know, the 2014 draft is fun to look at, mostly because it was weird. I don't mean weird in a bad way. I just mean the way it was talked about was really weird. I remember. I don't know.
But no. I think I've seen a lot of people be on Twitter be like, no one's gonna watch if it's Edmonton and Florida. And I'm like, okay, but they are. I don't like Florida, but I mean, but
no. Okay, here's where we get into it, where it's we don't like Florida not because they're not because they play in Florida. We actually think it's like cool that a team like, you know what I mean? Like that hockey gets played in Florida. That's cool. We don't like Florida because one of their players concussed a rookie in the second round of the playoffs last year. That's why we
like you can't expect that to happen and just have me be like open arms, like, oh, welcome Florida. I'm so happy you're in the No, Florida, no. I'm not happy in that.
I've done genuine research into how you can remove someone as a alumni from a high school because of that. Sam Bennett has formed a personal enemy, and now I'm upset that for 4 years of my life, I had to walk by a picture of him every single day when I went to high school.
Oh dear. But no, I think, do I like Florida? No. Are they entertaining to watch? Yes, because they're just really, really scrappy. And they have Matthew Tkachuk. It's like, that's the thing, everyone's like, no one's gonna watch. You're telling me just because you don't like Florida, you're gonna miss out on watching Matthew Tkachuk do whatever weird little rat shit he gets up to on the ice? I'm sad.
Like, does no one hate watch anymore? Like, that's the thing where I'm like, I'm not gonna watch because I don't like either of these teams. Start hate watching. I can promise you, you become way less of a miserable person if you hate watch things, because your hatred for things is then funneled into like watching something and hating it. You then have no hatred to like go on the internet and like share. Also as well, I have like, there is actual stats that back up the fact that like when a Canadian team is in the NHL playoffs, just general viewership of the NHL playoffs for Canadian broadcasters way up in comparison to when there is none. Like 20, what was it? 20, there was a year. Oh, I just had a book that I had to read for my class. I literally just did, hold on, I can go back to I'm literally doing a class on public broadcasting in which we read a book and it laid out the stats of like, there was, I think it was 2019. No, had to go earlier than that because the Leafs have always made the playoffs. The bubble season. Did any Canadian teams make it out of that playoffs? Out of the first round of the bubble? I could go get the book. I'm not going to do it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The year that no Canadian teams made the playoffs, like Canadian viewership of the NHL playoffs was considerably lower than when Canadian teams like do make the playoffs. So the Edmonton Oilers making the Stanley Cup final is like a huge thing because for Canadian broadcasters, I'm sure Rogers is like so excited because there's not one but 2 Saturday games that are guaranteed to get played, which is huge.
Yeah, no, I like bring back hate watching because it's so much fun. You can get
it's so entertaining
and not have to stress about who's gonna win.
You get to just enjoy hockey for the enjoyment of watching hockey get played.
Exactly. And also, I want Ryan McLeod to win. Him personally.
Just him?
Yeah, just him. It's just gonna be him with the cup. Everyone else, pack your bags.
Here's the true question that I'm going to ask. Oh, I forgot. It was only after 5 starts? Jesus. Sorry, I was just about to throw out hypothetically, do you put Jack Campbell's name on the cup? And then I looked up how many games he played this season, and the answer is 5. And I thought it was way more than that.
Oh, only 5?
That's the thing. That's the thing. The way that it was talked
like
about,
for me because
it felt like he got like. Yeah, I didn't watch his AHL games, but it felt like he had like 20 starts. The way that media and fans online were talking about Jack Campbell, it felt like he had been shitting the bed for 20 games. When no, he just had like 5 bad games, which like how many players like
I'm not being.
Now they were 5 like really bad games because his save percentage over those 5 games was 873. So you were below 900. But like still, like Stuart Skinner was a 905.
Yeah, like also
in 59 games though.
I don't want to be mean. I do. But like, if you're gonna get on Jack Campbell's ass for 5 bad games, when there are people on your team who are arguably much worse than that,
over more games,
get out, leave. The door is there. Pack your bags, get out.
And also like at the same time you can be like, well, like Jack Campbell was getting paid like $5 million and he was still shit. Well, Jack Campbell Jack Campbell personally did not walk into Edmonton and go, give me $5 million. And Edmonton was like, okay, because you say so. Edmonton probably offered him that much money because people forget like how crazy good of a season he was coming off of in Toronto.
Yeah. And it's like, also, like, can people not be mean about goalies? It makes me sad.
I've seen too many clips of like sad goalies this weekend. I don't want to between everything this weekend, I'm so done with the sad goalies. I want to never see another sad goalie ever again. Like, I'm done.
I have, for one of my points, I've got all caps, bold and underlined. Stop showing sad goalies.
I'm sad goalies, and also I've learned this weekend, sad parents. Stop showing me parents of player. Like, stop doing that. I do not need to see the parents of some 17-year-old kid crying. Stop doing that. I don't need it.
It's like you can like not do that. Fun fact, it's actually not required.
Or sad fans who are like children. Like,
no. last night after London lost,
that one kid, the poor kid,
crying,
the
like,
tongue,
6-year-olds
with the blue tongue.
Yes, a child. You are just broadcasting a sobbing child.
Like, literally tears streaming down. We're gonna get into the Mem Cup a little bit later in this show. But like, nah, can we stop doing that? I beg of you. Like, I know you could, like, I know there's gonna be some sports TV broadcast producer who's gonna be like, I know more than you guys, who's gonna be like, it makes for really compelling television. Also, yeah, like, I'm sure like when you enter a sports, there is like a mutual understanding that you're agreeing to be broadcasted when you enter to watch a sporting event. But also, like, he's a child. Like, do you know, like, I'm sure he has friends that he told back home being like, I'm going to go to the Mem Cup final. Like, I can't wait, yada, yada, yada. And then you're going to, like, and he's going to tell all his friends, and then his friends are going to watch being like, oh, we'll see if we can spot you. And then they see him full on bawling tears, and he has to go to school on Monday. And all of his friends are going to talk about how they saw him fully crying on, like, national television.
No, literally, it's like you've got poor little Jimmy over here who is absolutely buzzing, and then he's gonna go to school and get just rinsed to shit by all of his friends.
Because you know what, like, I know that like if I was doing something exciting like that, like I remember when I was a kid and my uncle would take like me and my sister to like Leaf season openers because he was part of like a season ticket pool, and he'd take us to like home openers and stuff like that. I would be telling my friends for like weeks beforehand, being like, I can't wait to go, like, I'm going to the Leafs game, like, I'm so excited. Like, you know what, they lost most of the time I went, but that was just the era of the Leafs I was attending games during. Remember when we found my ticket from the 2014 season opener?
Oh, yeah.
That home opener. And we looked up the score of that game, and it was like 7-3 total blowout against the Canadians, like brutal loss. And I think I remember being actually like, but the thing is I was so genuinely happy to like be there that I like didn't care. I don't like But like things like that. And like I remember like telling like all my friends and like being like, I'm just going to the Leafs game. I'm so excited. Like you would just do that. You would just be like, tell all your friends that you're doing this really cool, exciting thing. And then so then all your friends will be like, oh wow, so same. They're probably watching it home like it at home too. Like maybe not like that late if you're that young, because it's like a Sunday night and the game started at 7:30, but like I don't know what time kids go to bed anymore. I went to bed at like 7:30, lights out 8 o'clock when I was 10. So it worked out perfectly because like Phineas and Ferb would play back-to-back episodes starting at 6:30 on Family Channel. So I would watch both episodes, and then Family Channel would have like they wouldn't have commercials during the actual program. It'd be like an 8-minute block of commercials after like the episode had ended. So it was perfect timing because like once then the episode had ended and it was commercials, I'd turn the TV off and I'd go quickly get ready for bed, and then I'd be in bed by 7:30, and then I'd read for a half hour, and then lights out by 8 o'clock.
Such a good child. I was an absolute nightmare. My mum would be like, bedtime, and I'd be like, but like, no. I object.
See, I would. Now you're missing the point where I had a flashlight stashed under my pillow and would legit read my book after 8 o'clock with my flashlight on underneath the covers and like would sweat.
Oh my god, no! My favorite thing to do as a child, because up until sixth form, which is like after GCSE, so it was what 60? No, it would have been up until sixth form, but then COVID happened and I spent a year sat in my room doing school instead. But up until that point, my mum would take my phone off me on a night. The years I spent with my DS under my pillow playing Mario Kart all night long because
my mom would my phone. My mom would do the same thing, and I would read so many books. I read so many books because I didn't have a DS. My parents never got one for me. We didn't have like the video games I played the most as a kid were like computer flash games, like Animal Jam. Did you play Animal Jam?
Yes.
Animal Jam, Pop Tropica, Webkins, Moshi Monsters. No one talks about Moshi Monsters anymore.
I miss Moshi Monsters so much.
What other ones did I played all, like if you named like a game that falls into that like category of like
Club Penguin.
Club Penguin, yeah, like anything like that. Odds are I 100% played it because I would play every single one because it was like I wasn't allowed to like I played like games on my phone, like I played like Minecraft, but like it was like Minecraft Pocket Edition. That was the game of that was the version of Minecraft that I played where it was like
Pocket Edition. That's the only Minecraft I've ever owned or played.
Yeah, no, me too. Like I never played it on my computer. Like
I don't like playing it on my computer. Well, I tried playing it because my sister is a lot more into gaming than me, so she has like all the games on her computer, and like she was like, "Oh, come play Minecraft on my computer," and I'm like, "Okay," and I'm like, "I don't understand the controls."
I like when everything is touch, I just want to tap
and it's green. I just want to do my tapping.
It was so because it's like I don't know. I find it easier because it's like tap and like hold and like things like that. I'm like, this is way more. But I remember having to like convince my mom, like actually make a definite like argument and like reasoning. Like I was like a full persuasive almost essay, but it was like me talking to her about like why she should buy Minecraft Pocket Edition for us for like $7.99 or whatever it was. I fully remember that and having to be like, this is why it's worth the money. Like we can play with our friends and like, blah, blah, blah. I fully remember this having a conversation because like any other video game that I would play would be like, okay, you have to like, it's free. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like any other mobile game or like, I don't know, Papa's Freezeria, any of the Papa Louie games on like cool math games. Oh yeah. Run and Run 2. Did you ever play Run and Run 2? Where it was a little like gray like alien looking thing and it was like these like blocks and it was like just like one of those like continuous like run things where you had to jump over the gap. It was like in space. Yes. Run and Run 2 because then in Run 2 he got little roller skates.
Oh.
Like those cool math games was like the shit when I was a kid.
No, it's like I remember like once I begged my mum to let me buy Minecraft. She was like, okay, but you have to buy it on the family iPad. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. So I did that. And then, but it was the family iPad, which meant that at some point when it ran out of storage, my dad didn't realize that when you delete Minecraft, you delete all my worlds, 4 years I spent on this one world building an entire city and like underground cave system full of houses. Gone. I went to play on it one day and I was like, where's Minecraft? And my dad was like, oh, well, we didn't have enough storage on the iPad. And I was like, so you got rid of Minecraft?
No, that's the thing. It's like me and my cousins, because you could do like worlds with like, you know, people and stuff, right? Me and my cousins, we had this one world, and in true, I like to think we were trendsetters, and we beat 5 Seconds of Summer to it, because it was literally, the name of it was the first letter of all of our names put together. In true, like, we beat 5 Sauce to the punch on that one. They copied us. We had this world for years. It was a full-on city. It started by like my cousin. He had made it first, and it started with like him. Like he was the one who like started the world, and then we just all joined, and we all had our own little houses, and we had like neighborhoods and stores. And I remember spending like forever on this like set of like storefronts that looked like townhouses, and we would literally like copy pictures that we would look up like Minecraft like on Pinterest. I shit, you know, on Pinterest. We'd go and we'd be like,
my Minecraft Pinterest. We go way back.
We'd go like Minecraft like build ideas, and we wouldn't watch the video. We would look at the picture, and we would count out and like copy it and like try and figure out like and get the scale right and everything. And we had like pets, and like when we have like this giant huge skyscraper, and like we would have restaurants and stores and everything. And we would just like, when we'd see each other, we'd just spend hours doing that on this one Minecraft world.
I've just had an idea. Do you want to make a Minecraft world together?
We've talked about this how many times, how I do not have time to get invested into another silly little phone game. I finally got over my obsession with the fashion one that I've been playing for like 4 months. I
wondered what happened to that, because you just stopped sending me level updates. And I was like,
I've stopped playing it for a while because I got really busy with school stuff. The one where I was on like level like 500 or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's really funny because I think I like saw something where it was like, so it was like, don't add like what, you know, like the connection between a girl and her silly little phone game. Like I saw a TikTok like that or something, and I looked at the comments, and one of them was like people talking about that one specific game. I was like, there's other people like me who play this game, and it was like people talking about what level they were on, and there was people who were like, yeah, like I'm on level like 1,000 like 312, and I was like, oh my god.
That's like me and my current silly little phone game.
But you keep trying to get me to download, which like I will not right now because I'm so busy with schoolwork that I'm like, I don't have time to like waste my time like with it. Like I can't do that right now.
Do you know how bad it is? I made my mum download it. And like I was, because I was on the phone to her, and I was like, because we used to play, you know, Bakery Story. Did you not? Was that not a universal? Like, well, basically, there was like this collection of games that I like grew up just like rotating between. It was like Bakery Story, Fashion Story, Restaurant Story, and it's like you like.
Oh, okay. I'm familiar with the the like ads.
Yeah. Well, basically, for the last year of my life, me and my mum had been like, we'd both downloaded Bakery Story again, and we were like playing it, and like we were friends on it, and we'd send each other gifts. And then I was talking to her about the other day because I'd reached the maximum level, and I was like, I don't really know. Like, she was like, "Are you still playing that?" And I'm like, "Nah, kind of. I got a bit bored of it because there was nothing else I could do." And I was like, "But I found a new game." So then she downloaded it. We added each other on it, and then an hour later, she sends me a message, and she's like, "These pesky fish," and she was like, "I'm on level 8 already," and I was like, "Oh my god!" So now every so often I just get a text from her being like, that stupid fish game is taking over my life. But no, I love my little phone games.
Phone games are great, but you know what's even better? Talking about Stanley Cup Finals. So they're going to take place between Edmonton and Florida, like we said. I was just taking a little gander at the 2014 draft class. Underratedly deep draft class.
Well, I need to.
Underratedly really deep. I'll list off some highlights. Obviously, of course, we know the top 4 picks: Ekblad, Reinhart, Draisaitl, and Bennett. The only one actually, like, okay, Edmonton, yeah, like, sorry, but Florida has 3 of those. Edmonton has 1. Nylander was the 8th pick that year. Kevin Fiala was 11. Dylan Larkin, Travis Sanheim, Alex Tuch was, like, here's 15 through 18 on picks. Larkin, Sonny Milano, Travis Sanheim, Alex Tuch. Kasperi Kapanen at 22. What up? Yay! Always forget that Jared McCann was a Vancouver draft pick.
Leafs legend.
Leafs legend, Jared McCann. David Pastrnak at 25. Adrian Kempe at 29. Demko at 36. Barbashev at 33. Nedeljkovic at 37. Like then there's a little bit of a gap of guys who like didn't really play a bunch of considerable time. Brandon Montour at 55. Christian Dvorak at 58. Where is he playing now, Christian Dvorak? Is he still in Arizona? So I
don't know.
No, he's in Montreal now. Huh. I feel like I should have known that. See, I just always knew him as like the guy who played on the London Knights, who is also friends with Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
I don't know why is it the American thing / Arizona thing? Potentially.
Miles Benjamin was 70. Oh, love that. He played for Belfast last year.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, Miles Gendron. He was on the draft.
He played for
Belfast.
Oh, he's in the Warren Fogley at 67. Blah, 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 blah. There's like one weirdly deep one down here. Like Elvis Merzlikins, I guess goaltenders are kind of weird because it's like you can pick a really good goaltender really late in the draft. Like Ilya Sorokin was 78. Braden Point, 79. Jake Wallman at 82. Mike Amadio at 90. Leafs legend, Michael Amadio. Nathan Walker. Oh my god, I love Nathan Walker at 89.
Yeah.
His accent's so silly to me. William Lagesson at 91.
Leafs legend.
Billy Husso at 94. There's like
Sam Laffy
at
13.
Devon Taves at 108. Victor Arvidsson at 112. Michael Bunting at 117.
Michael Bunting
at 117. Hey, Michael Bunting was drafted higher than Igor Shesterkin because Igor was the pick afterwards. See, like, that's what I mean. Like, oh, it was Gustav Forsling. That's who I was thinking of, who was at 126 in the 5th round. Dakota Joshua, 128. Sorry, now we're just, like, going through.
No, this is so much fun for me because you know me and my little draft spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, my draft spreadsheet, I'm starting on that.
Pierre Engvall, 188, baby.
Leafs
with with their 7th round pick, the Toronto Maple Leafs select Pierre Engvall.
Oh.
Andre Kaze at 205. Jake Evans at 107. And last pick of the draft, 210th overall, the last pick of the 2014 NHL draft, Jacob Middleton. Currently plays for Minnesota. Mr. Mustache himself, Jacob Middleton. See? Isn't that just like something special?
Wild. Absolutely wild.
No. From the Ottawa 67s. I always forgot he played for the 67s.
Crazy. Also, sorry, I keep getting distracted by the fact that I have Gabe Bunting in my living room. It's like from Eurovision.
Oh.
It's leaning exactly over. It's pointing directly at Prince Caspian. Still on my TV.
I was like trying to say, I was like, what are you watching?
Narnia. That's my second Narnia movie of the day.
So you're telling me if I were to have to post video of any of this episode, we're just gonna get Ben Barnes as Prince Caspian.
Ben Barnes, Gabe Bunting, 1989 Taylor's version, balloons.
Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, no, man,
complete trip hazard. That is like head.
That is a fire hazard. But like, this is what I say. Like, we always talk about like what 2015 draft being crazy, or like, you know, I don't know. Do we talk right? It's like always like, hey, what was the stronger draft, 2003 or 2015? 2014, ridiculously, like, it's one of those things where it's like a lot of hidden gems in there where you scroll through and you're like, oh, last pick of the draft, last Jacob Middleton. And look at, like, he's had a pretty good career.
Which, you know,
especially with Minnesota.
It's a bright future. It's looking like a bright future for last year's last.
Do you have his name right off the top of your head?
Tyler Peddle. He was the last pick.
I do remember when we were watching the draft, you were gonna say it was like just like we will never forget Tyler Peddle's name.
We will never.
What is the season he's had this year? Tyler Peddle. Let's look at left wing in 28 games for the St. John Sea Dogs in the QMJHL. Oh, well, no, he got traded halfway through the season from the Drummondville Voltigeurs to the St. Dogs Sea Dogs. So now I'm going to have to do some math. In 65 games, he has 17 goals, 15 assists for a combined 32 points. Ridiculous amount of penalty minutes. Oh my god. Crazy amount of penalty moments. So that is 59 penalty minutes. He also is at his season plus minus, which means absolutely nothing, is -22. How bad were they made the playoffs? How bad were the St. John?
Maybe they were just really bad when he was on the ice. But no, Tyler Peddle, you will always be famous.
Okay, why when I look at the full team on Hockey TV, it does not give me their plus minus as a stat? That's frustrating. Oh, their goalie percentages are both under 900.
Oof. Yeah.
Oof. I also don't recognize any of these names anyway, so.
Having a look.
A lot of French. A lot of French.
There's a lot of French people.
Well, St. John's. No, well, St. John is in what is the QM? It's the Q, but St. John is in
Mm.
New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Fun little shout out to the Maritimes. Beautiful province. New Brunswick is a beautiful province. I know the Maritimes is not a singular province. I did pass grade 5 geography.
Oh.
Yeah, I think like I don't know why people didn't think that the Florida Panthers were not going to be a good team this year. They obviously are a very good team.
Mm.
And I hate talking about a team and their style to play as if they like as in the way of playing like they play playoff style hockey. Like I hate saying that. But like in the case of the Florida Panthers, they do. And I think that's just the nature of like it being a Paul Maurice coach team, where it's like they know how to walk that line, that very narrow line in the playoffs between like a more physical style of play and also like taking penalties in the playoffs. While also they are very good at how they like they're still a very good team with a lot of top end talent. That top end talent also just happens to be really physical. And like
yeah,
is like yeah. Like Sam Bennett can still score goals. He just also happens to be an absolute asshole on the ice.
Yeah, Sam Bennett can score goals, and he's also really good at concussing people.
Yeah, true. He's really good at
Not
getting
that I'm
away
Matt
with
Bauer or
fully
anything.
WWE tackling people behind the net. Yeah, and also like for some reason Sergei Bobrovsky is playing like he's 26 again, which I don't understand. I don't understand this weird resurgence of Sergei Bobrovsky. Like it's to the point where I've like looked at like his stats and stuff. Like I've spent not even like the like okay, yeah, maybe the advanced stats, but like I've like looked at it and I'm like he's always been like good. But like I don't know, he just I guess for a while he spent too long in Columbus or something. Like that's maybe where I'm like but
yeah,
I don't know.
This is completely irrelevant, but I feel like people will find it entertaining. My housemate has just sent a text saying that a man that she politely turned down for a date when she was 17 is running to be an MP.
Oh, the fear I will have in my heart when someone I went to high school with decides to run for government.
Oh.
Oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. In terms of Edmonton, like I think I tweeted this out. I was like, you know what? Good for Connor McDavid. Maybe now, like I'm thinking, I'm like, if enough good things happen to Connor McDavid, we can stop with these really tragic narratives that people build around Connor McDavid. And like, you know what? Maybe then we'll stop. Like, I don't know. I just like I think about it where it's like Connor McDavid has always been like not his entire career, but like it's been this weird way of like framing it where it's like he because of like the nature of how you build an NHL team now, like you won't like the Edmonton Oilers are not going to be good with how they're structured with Connor McDavid on them, or like something like that. You know, you've read all the ways that people talk about Connor McDavid, and you know what? I think he deserves a little bit of joy.
No, okay. First of all, I want Edmonton to win, not only because I hate Florida, but also just so then the Oilers will have a cup, so they can. Well, they'll have won, so they can just shut. They can shut up about it. They can stop talking.
And that way as well, like people will stop talking with the thing of like Connor McDavid, look at him, like first overall pick, like we'll never win a cup in his career. Then we can stop. Like we can nip that in the bud. And also as well, I don't have to hear that, you know, whatever Canadian team hasn't won the cup since like 1993. We can stop with that. We can stop with that because that gets brought up every single year in Canadian media. Like my dad talks about it, like the broadcasts talk about it, like articles listed off. nope, no peace. Like maybe then we can like cool it for like 5 years.
I brought this up last night, and I will happily bring it up again. What will Connor McDavid winning a Stanley Cup do for the McStrome narrative?
Apparently something when Dylan Strome is on Twitter liking tweets of Connor McDavid goals. Oh. I literally saw that and I was like, do not have time for that right now in my life. Ignoring it, pretending it doesn't exist.
No, someone replied to my tweet about it last night with just like the screenshot, and I was like,
someone DM'd the screenshot to us.
Yes.
That's today, this morning, someone DM'd both of us in a group chat that screenshot, and I literally said, I do not have time for this right now. Like, and I didn't mean it in a rude way of like, don't DM me. I literally meant like, right now in my brain with where my brain is at between like the podcast, like schoolwork and like everything, like when it comes to like my general life stuff, I do not have room in my brain to think about McStrome narratives right now. Like I can't, like the thing is we're gonna get finished recording this podcast. I'm immediately gonna be like, all right, I gotta go because I have to go finish like some work for because I sit down with my professor tomorrow morning one-on-one, and I have to have like something to show him that shows that I've been working on this policy paper when I have not been. So
I'm gonna say to you exactly what I said to my best
I'm
friend.
I'm gonna do
my
it.
best friend,
it's not
my housemate.
I don't have to have it finished. I don't
do
have to have
your
it finished.
work.
I am gonna do my work. I don't have to have it finished. I have to like have something to show him that's not something he's already seen. So I just have to like, which it's not gonna take me long. It's also I'm doing it on how like anyway, it's for my public broadcasting class. I'm gonna talk about how like people like there needs to be more of it an importance placed on like the broadcast of women's sports. I can waffle about that for 3 hours.
Go women!
Woo! But so like there, like it's okay. I'll be fine. It's like a thing, and like in my defense, I have not been able to like actually no, it's not bad today. Yesterday I wasn't able to like move my shoulder up past 90 degrees because on Friday I went mountain biking with my boyfriend for the first time. I'd never been mountain biking before. My knee is now a gross shade of yellow because it's bruised because I half ran into a tree.
It's attempted murder. That's what it was. It wasn't mountain biking. That was Simon trying to get rid of you.
Literally, it was a thing where he was like, "Oh, look over there," and I was like, "Babe, I'm not looking over the side of a cliff while I'm in control of a thing with wheels where it's primarily steered in the direction that you are looking." Like the way that it is easiest to steer a bike is if you look at where you want to go. I am not going to look over the side of a cliff.
Just go,
thank you very much. Yeah, truly what I might have done. So
and you see, that's why
hey, look,
I don't ride bikes.
See, I will ride a bike on the road. I will do that perfectly fine. It was fun, I will say. I did get absolutely bitten alive by mosquitoes. It was fun. Was I also absolutely shitting my pants the entire time and now now I'm like, oh, this is what it's like for him when we go skiing together? Absolutely. Will I potentially maybe think about doing it again? Also, yes, because he seemed very happy to like go with me. So unfortunately, him being happy makes me happy.
It's all part of his plan.
Unfortunately, seeing my boyfriend happy makes me happy. So unfortunately, that's how like love works and stuff, which is like disgustingly gross.
Miserable, so
this makes it seem like you guys do not get along when you guys actually like do.
No, me and Simon are best friends, actually. Best buds. That's actually the whole reason that I'm friends with you, is secretly.
Is to get to my
it's so me and Simon can become the ultimate BFFs.
those like Claire's like friendship necklaces that like magnet together.
Like one day you'll message me like, oh, you'll be like, oh, what are you up to? Maybe we can face it. And I'm like, sorry, me and Simon are having a pamper party sleepover. We're currently doing each other's nails and have a face mask on. No, you're not invited.
Oh my god, he's gonna listen to this and gonna be like, what the fuck? He was listening to he was texting me. He was like, oh, I listened to you guys' like Thursday episode while I was like disc golfing. Because yes, my boyfriend is the biggest nerd you will ever meet. I say that with love because he's gonna listen to this and be like, what do you mean I'm a nerd? And then I'm just gonna follow it up with the fact that like he like did like speed cubing in high school.
You know what? Is it mean if I say that doesn't surprise me at all? I mean that in the nicest way possible, I promise. Sorry, Simon. Can we still be friends?
Okay, no. But like also the thing is like that he is incapable of sitting still for a long period of time without like fidgeting with something. And sometimes that is him like ripping up a little straw wrap or whatever. And sometimes that is him fully sitting, like if we're on FaceTime or whatever, him fully sitting like on FaceTime, doing a Rubik's Cube underneath the phone speaker. And I'm like to the point where I'm like, as someone who cannot have like noise while I'm trying to have like, my biggest pet peeve is if my mom will call me and she's also eating at the same time. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it. If someone's like that, and it's the same thing when and I'm like, and I literally, it gets to the point where I'm like, hey, babe, could you maybe not do that directly under your phone microphone? Thank you very much. Because I am going mental over here.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, Edmonton, like, here's the thing. The team that looked like it was most able to beat the Edmonton Oilers this season, in the playoffs at least, it was Vancouver Canucks. They were the only team that was able to like shut down Connor McDavid, shut down the Oilers power play during the playoffs. And that's what like scares me, where I'm like, Edmonton may be like under, like, I know now people are like going like, okay, Florida Panthers, like they're the favorite. They were there last year. Like maybe they weren't so close. So, like it only went to 5 games against Vegas, but Vegas was Vegas last year. But like, I don't know. Maybe this is just me who I'm sick of hearing people talk about the Edmonton Oilers, like Canadian, like the Canadian Cup drought and everything like that, where I'm like, maybe Edmonton will win. But also like, I don't know where to put my faith in now. My bracket is dead. In the what? Like absolutely dead. Absolutely, it's gone. It died. It died with the Rangers and the Stars.
My bracket died. It started off really well, and then it all went downhill. And then my second chance bracket up in flames.
Yeah. See, I had Dallas winning the cup on my bracket. So.
I don't know how well that's going for you right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's very much not. It's very much, I think even like. Well, I had the lead. Remember, we posted our brackets on Twitter. So someone's gonna scroll back and absolutely flame us for it.
And that someone's gonna be me.
And someone's gonna be us. We're gonna look back and be like, what absolute idiots we were. Belief. I'm delusion. Delusion.
You want to talk delusion? My second chance bracket, I had the Canucks winning.
Okay, look, in your defense, I believe if Vancouver won Game 7, that series did go to 7 games, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
So much.
It did go to Game 7. If Vancouver won Game 7, I do think potentially like there would be a chance there. Because maybe Thatcher Demko would be good to return. I don't know. Like I don't know. They also looked like they were limping across the finish line, as well in terms of just injuries.
They were carried across the finish line.
I will say, Stuart Skinner. Way to go, pal.
You and your mustache slay.
Way to go, pal. Stuart Skinner in the playoffs. I want to find his like. Why do they not have it? I know I could do this like a different way. Oh, here we go. In the playoffs, doesn't look like he has a great average because it's like, oh, sub 900. But also like he faced at least 30 shots, right? Hold on. I'm pulling up right here. Stars. No, give me the totals. Well, the Edmonton Oilers had. Why am I unable to see the shots of that game?
Hmm.
34 saves. So he faced 35 shots, saved 34 of them. Meanwhile, the Edmonton Oilers, got 10 shots.
It was yeah.
Which is crazy. I will say, like, I think I should have done more research into this into looking at, like, because I know Stuart Skinner didn't have a great start to the playoffs, and then so they put in Calvin Pickard, and it worked, and then they put Stuart Skinner back in, and then he came back and was, like, playing lights out. So I think I would have to, like, do more research into, like, looking at, like, when, you know what I mean? Like, in his average from, like, when he went back in after Calvin Pickard started played half a game and then started a game. Because I feel like since then he's been absolutely mental.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, so I don't know. At this point, I'm like, you know what? My bracket's totally wrong. What do I know anymore? I'm just talking out of my ass. But I think we'll talk about the other two teams who are no longer in the playoffs. We'll talk about the Rangers. We'll talk about the Stars. New York Rangers, their locker cleanout is tomorrow starting at, oh my God, I just saw a tweet where it was like, I can't remember if it was 11:30 or 11 or 10:30. So at some point mid-morning, at least, will be the Rangers locker cleanout and exit interviews. I cannot wait to see Chris Kreider crying again.
Oh yeah.
Woo! I will say that shot of Vincent Trocheck comforting Igor Shesterkin was enough to make me cry so hard I turned my TV off.
Oof.
I saw that and I was like, all right, I'm done. That's enough for me. Turn the switch back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Thank you very much.
Oh, no,
People ask me what I'm watching, and I lie and say I'm not watching anything at the moment because I'm so busy with watching hockey when actually I'm just watching like crappy reality TV, like Real Housewives. Look, I started The Valley, which is a spinoff, from people who are on Vanderpump Rules, which is a spinoff of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Gotta love Bravo TV. And I plowed through that first season, at least of the episodes that are out, like that have been aired. And so now I'm going all the way back to the start of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I cannot wait until Yolanda Hadid joins the show.
Truly.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because right now it's so great because it's like season 1 was like 2010, 2011. So it's like, imagine like that really, really tacky rich person mid 2000s, like house aesthetic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
that's the shit right there. All the crown moldings. Give me all the crown moldings and the tacky brown upholstery.
Beautiful.
But yeah, no, that's what I've been. So if I tell anybody else, that's a bold-faced lie.
I'm slowly working my way through Hell's Kitchen again.
Hell's Kitchen specifically? You haven't gotten into Kitchen Nightmares?
No, I do enjoy Kitchen Nightmares, but there's something about Hell's Kitchen. It's like crack to me. Like I will just rewatch it over and over and over again.
I'm in a holding pattern because like all of my like spring, like winter, spring cable shows have ended, but like my summer shows have not started, aka The Amazing Race Canada has not started. I miss John Montgomery on my screen. Everyone, my emotional attachment to this man is actually unhealthy. Are you looking up John Montgomery right now?
No, I'm not. I'm typing Race Canada so I can remember it it's like a reminder thing. I do that with tabs. I'll just type stuff. So then before I can close the tab, I have to remember it and be like, that's what I was gonna do. So that
you're gonna look at You're gonna binge it. Okay, season 2 is particularly one of my favorites. Season 2 and season 5. Season 5 because I really liked most of the teams in season 5, and I really liked the winners of season 5. Season 2, another one of my favorites because it was like the first finale where I liked all the teams in the finale. Also, as well, it is the season with Natalie Spooner and Megan Mickelson. Yeah. And they are the exact reason why I've been saying since they were on the show in, I think it was like grade 4 or 5. Like it was like season 2. The show's been going on for 10 seasons. So it's the reason why I've been saying since season 2, like since they were on the show, that we need to get more hockey players on The Amazing Race Canada. And we got it kind of this most recent season because I talked about it a little bit like briefly before when I've talked about The Amazing Race Canada, where there was this most recent season. Actually, the winner of this most recent season, spoiler alert, it's been out for almost a year. I think I'm allowed to say it. Was
what if I was gonna watch it, Emma?
I've told you about them. I've literally sent you TikToks of them. Been like, he kind of looks like Bobby McMahon. This is just proof that any man from Alberta looks like Bobby McMahon.
Every man from Alberta is Bobby McMahon.
But he was one of the survivors of the Humboldt bus crash, and so like I guess we kind of got more hockey play. But like I just like get some NHLers on there, especially like if you get ones who are like way out of the playoffs by like February. I don't know, get a couple like Sharks or something. Apologies to the San Jose. Absolutely just rinse the San Jose Sharks there.
There was no who could it be? Just get the Sharks. the entire team.
All the Canadians off the San. Macklin Celebrini, how much would you and Connor Bedard like to go on The Amazing Race?
Oh, that'd be incredible.
But like, I don't know. But like, so but like, if you get some guys who are like, they know they're not going to be in the playoffs because they film The Amazing Race Canada like end of April, beginning of May. That's when they film it. So it's after the NHL regular season. These guys are already like season fit. They won't have to do much training because they're hockey players. They're athletes. Just put them on there. I think it'd be great. I think you got to get like, you know, I've always thought about like who would be good on it, and it's like it's got to be guys who are like can actually like read a map. Like you have to read a map, be able to read a map. But it's.
Do you know who would?
Are you about to say Joseph Woll?
Okay, no, he is one person who I would like to see on it, but he wasn't actually the person I was gonna say because I feel like that's just a given. Like I don't even have. It's like of course, Jeff Skinner.
I would love to see Jeff Skinner on The Amazing Race Canada. I think it would go so well with his brand of just whimsy and like having fun. And I think that like, you know, we've seen Between Two Stalls. We know that he's good at doing those talking heads.
Yeah.
I think also as well, he would do like, cause like, you know, like every episode is like, you know, is given the title of like some weird, like, funny one-liner that one of the contestants said like during the course of the episode. Our all-time favorite team on The Amazing Race, which is the American version of the show, was really good at pumping those out to like not this most recent season, but the season before.
Yeah.
Love you, Corey.
Love you, Corey.
Love you, Corey. But like, I think like that he like. But Jeff Skinner would give so many of those, like, just really good, just being like those really funny moments where you're like, what is this guy saying?
I personally, I think we should just constantly have like a Jeff Skinner reality show where it's just
get
24/7 live stream.
Was he one of the guys that we said for our Amazon series that we wanted Jeff Skinner on? For the Amazon series, but did we say we wanted Jeff Skinner on that? Was he one of the guys who we said?
I don't know. I mean,
I think you said him. I think you did. If I didn't say it, you did. I can't even go back because we never wrote it down. We never wrote it down because it was a question I sprung on you. Like, hey.
Oh, it was, and my mind just like you sprung at me, and my mind just went blank, and I was like, just.
And you listed off like 5 leaves, and I was sitting here being like, that's not the point of this exercise.
You can't spring questions on me like that because I don't care what the question is. It could be, what did I have for dinner last night? And I was like, that was a really bad. I'm just like, I don't know.
You could even do some like retired guys as well in that situation. Anyway, but I digress. We've spent so long talking about things that are not hockey related. Looping back to actual hockey related, there was a rumor that was actually then got printed in the New York Post, I believe is the big newspaper. They had a huge spread on the Rangers that the rumored AAV for Shesterkin's next contract, which he is a UFA at the end of, like, now, I guess at the end of the season, he's a UFA now, was $12 million. Holy crap. Holy crap.
Oh my.
I literally saw that and I was like, I never want to hear about the Leafs overpaying their star players ever again. And I'm not to say that like Igor Shesterkin is not a star player. He absolutely is. I think he's the only reason the Rangers were able to win a lot of games in the playoffs this year. But I do think that like and I know the way that we push NHL salaries like forward is to have guys where it's like they are the big breakout number. We were like, that's a crazy number, because then by the end of their contract, like hopefully it's normalized out to that's not a crazy number to be paying a single player. But like, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I still look at like $12 million for a goalie and I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Because
insane.
Once again, never want to hear about the Leafs over. If Igor Shesterkin does sign a $12 million yearly contract with the New York Rangers, I never want to hear ever again how Auston Matthews is overpaid at 13. Never again. I never want to hear, William Nylander's overpaid. I never want to hear that. We're done having that conversation. No. Because I will just be like, Igor Shesterkin is getting paid 12. I thought that when Sorokin, he was like a 7x7 or an 8x7 or something like that. Last year, the contract he signed last year, I thought that was crazy. I thought that was mental, signing a goalie at his age. I don't want to say at his age, but like signing a goalie for that long of a contract. Because I literally went there, I was like, New York Islanders, have you learned nothing from Rick DiPietro? Have you learned nothing? Who you are still paying off two fulls because he also does analyst work for them.
They clearly haven't learned.
I also said that about the Pierre Engvall contract because I also said that was ridiculous. I was like, no freaking way. Lou Lamoriello drafted Pierre Engvall, left Toronto, then traded for Pierre Engvall. I don't know if it was traded for Pierre Engvall or if it was more of Kyle Dubas was trading Pierre Engvall away, but like received Pierre Engvall in a trade, agreed to a trade that involved Pierre Engvall, and then was like $7 million. Because I don't know about you, but like, no offense to Pierre Engvall, he kind of like gives me off the vibe of like, does Lou Lamoriello even know his name? Which is totally mean to say because I'm 95% sure Lou Lamoriello like he knows the names of his players, yes, but like also I don't know. It's like, does he?
Like, does he know his name, or does Pierre just turn up to practice and he's just like, That one there.
The tall one with no shirt on.
He just turns around and he's like, right, you look over there. And he's like, tall, topless man over there.
I don't know. Like, I'm sure he does, but like, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I don't know. Someone's gonna get mad at me for saying that.
Let them.
I have no fucks left to give. We've reached pure
word.
We've hit the pure like purgatory part of the off season where it's like I'm done. I've given up. I'm done. I've given up trying to like care about what people think about what I say. Come give me 3 weeks and we'll be back online. Yeah, another one to talk about in terms of we may have seen Joe Pavelski play his last game of his NHL career. As not to say that he's come out and announced his retirement, but he is 39 years old, and also as well, by the way that his teammates were asked about him and his leadership at the end of in their post games yesterday. It was like Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Wyatt Johnson. Wyatt Johnson, who lived with Joe Pavelski the past 2 seasons. It seemed very clear that it could be the end of his career. And there goes another guy who will probably end up in the Hall of Fame, who will probably have his jersey retired by one, if not potentially 2 teams. Who knows? Not have a cup, and I'm just going to add him to the little list that I've been creating that includes Roberto Luongo, the Sedin twins, Patrick Marleau, and Jason Spezza, and Henrik Lundqvist. Henrik Lundqvist, who is already in the Hall of Fame. So, just let that in. But yeah, I guess maybe Thursday's episode we will do a full like end of season hurrah for the Rangers and the Stars, and probably we'll talk about whatever cajillion injuries were had befallen both of those teams. I don't know if the like from the way that like everybody is talking about it, it seems that like the New York Rangers, like, I don't know, they were playing like half dead. People are like, if they cut, like, I don't know. From what I'm getting from Rangers fans, it's like, you know what? The only excuse at this point, besides them shitting the bed, is that half the team was dying.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Lindgren, it was his corpse that was getting wheeled out every night. From like what I've watched him go through this season, likely scenario. His face was like broken, like he lost a chunk of his like jaw. Was that him? That was him, wasn't it?
I think so. I am not the best person.
It was the Rangers player who lost, like, we did talk about it because we were like, that's absolutely disgusting. I remember talking about a Rangers player losing a chunk of his jaw. Maybe it was Ryan Lindgren.
I remember talking about it because I was talking about it with my mum and she was like, he did what? And I'm like, yeah, he spat some of his jaw out on the ice. And then she was like, do they not wear mouth guards? And I'm like,
yes.
Like, yeah. I don't know how much a mouth guard's going to do to stop part of your jaw falling out, though, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Trying to like figure out if that was like before or after the before or after the Jamie Drysdale trade. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
It feels like it was a while ago.
It doesn't matter. I guess we can talk about the Mem Cup right now. So The Saginaw Spirit beat the London Knights in the Mem Cup final 4-3, with the game-winning goal for the Saginaw Spirit being scored with 21 seconds left, which is an absolute heartbreaker. London Knights clawed back from 3-0 to tie it in the third period. Easton Cowan scored a goal. This is what we were referring to when we were like, hey, stop showing the sad parents of 17-year-olds.
Like,
Sims got kicked out because he within like the first like 10 minutes of the game with a game misconduct for an elbow to the head. And then they cut to his parents and his mom was like crying and his dad just looked like mad. Like he had that like dad like
he was like
like that dad like trying not to let my emotions show externally, but it's not working. You can totally tell what I'm thinking. And I was like, and they kept cutting back to them. I was like stop. like stop. I'm like, and then they cut to them like then they cut to the parents like after the game was over, like not even like the Saginaw parents. No, it was they cut to they didn't. I don't think they ever cut to the Saginaw parents. Maybe they did once after the game was over. I couldn't tell if they were Saginaw parents or if they were just like fans of the Saginaw Spirit. I couldn't tell because at least like the London Knights parents and like contingency and like the girlfriends and everything, you could tell because they all had like hats with like LK and then like their player's number on it, or they like the girlfriends had like sweaters. It was really cute. There was like an OHL like WAG jacket / sweater like portion on the broadcast where Julia Tuteri talked about it on TSN, at least if you watch the TSN broadcast, which I think was that the only place you could watch. I don't know what did you get the TSN broadcast?
I don't actually know because I spent so much time trying to reconnect it to my TV.
Well, the score bug was like the TSN score bug. If you watch the TSN broadcast, you know what the do you know what the TSN scorebook looks like? Do you get TSN games?
Sometimes I don't. I think it was a TSN. Probably was.
But yeah, anyways, it was, but like, so you could tell like when they were like showing like London Knights, like family and girlfriends and things like that. So, and they kept cutting to the parents, and I was like, can we not?
Can you stop, please?
And then they kept cutting to like Michael Simpson, who was the goaltender for the London Knights, and I was like, that goal was like not your fault.
No.
That was just like an absolute like heartbreaker of a goal too. And I was like, no. And also as well, like I just was like, oh my god, no.
Please. No.
Then they were showing like Easton Cowan. Like that shot of Easton Cowan is gonna get used in edits for years. That shot, it's like him like kneeling on the ice, and it's like him, it's like from behind, and it like so you can like see his like nameplate, and it's like him looking at like the Saginaw Spirit like players like celebrating and things like that. That shot has just fueled enough edits for his entire career. I don't know, like
who crew are gonna love it. Eating it up.
Who's to say like how long his NHL career will be? You know, hopefully it's pretty long. You know, at the Leafs. But like that is going to fuel edits his entire career. There are certain shots. There are certain shots of an NHL broadcast that'll get used forever and ever and will follow a player their entire career. That is one for Easton Cowan.
Yeah. There is not a skip in that anytime soon.
No. But yeah. I will say like I don't know what it means for Easton Cowan in terms of we'll see. Like at this point, I think, it's so hard to judge whether a player is NHL ready until you see them like in an environment like a preseason game. Or not. Like who knows?
Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see come September what happens. It'd be cool to see him with Toronto. You know, it will be cool. We don't even know what's gonna happen with like Fraser Minten either. Obviously, I think, you know, Cowan has one more year to play in the O. Right? Yes. Yeah, he has one more year. Yeah. He has one more year before he ages out. Whereas, sorry, my nose is incredibly itchy. I don't know why. I'm like Marcy's watching me like for some reason it's just really itchy. I don't know why. Marcy's been watching me like rub at it for the past like 5 minutes.
Like, girl, it's gonna fall off if you don't like leave it on.
I don't know why though. It's so anyways. But so obviously Fraser Minten probably like at minimum will be playing with the Marlies next year. At most will be playing for the Leafs. Easton Cowan has a little bit more options in terms of he can go back play another season in London or wherever in the OHL. Probably will continue to we'll stay with London, but or we'll play with the Marlies or play with the Leafs. Who knows? At this point, I don't know. It's so hard to tell. So hard to tell. We'll see. But I will say watching him this season has made me really excited to watch him potentially play for the Leafs. So I think there are some positives to come out of it. Like, he's had a fantastic season.
He's going to be an absolute menace. And I am so excited.
But yeah, I guess we can talk about the Leafs as well. There's a couple of topics. There's been some rumors around Tyler Bertuzzi's contract in terms of that. Well, at least like one of the not so much rumors as in like facts. Not so much that it came directly from the Leafs, but like it's not a crazy it's not a crazy rumor to assume this either, where it's like, okay, yeah, no, this makes logical sense. Whereas discussions between the Toronto Maple Leafs and Bertuzzi in terms of his contract have started. That's not a crazy thing to say. Jordan Schmaltz, who is an NHL, like a former NHL player, and is tends to be pretty good when it comes to knowing the whisperings that come out of in terms of being an insider when it comes to things that are you know what I mean? I don't know how to refer it. When it comes to player stuff, players insiders, what he calls himself, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, give you that. Has thrown around some numbers. One of them is that it is not, I guess, agreed upon a three times $4.75 million contract, which honestly, if we I was fully expecting a $5 to $6 mil-ish range for Bertuzzi for re-signing. If we get him sub 5, will not be upset by that.
No, I wouldn't complain.
Also as well, so but that's just something that's not a guarantee on what it can be. He did broaden his parameters a little bit in terms of what Toronto is willing to do, which is a 4-year max term to line up with Auston Matthews. I think is the reason where it's okay, well, we have Auston Matthews for 4 years. That's who we kind of want to build this team around, obviously. And so we have to kind of set, if we want to commit to something in terms of a plan, it kind of is centered around Auston Matthews' contract, which is 4 years, starting next year, and sub 5 mil.
Which,
you know what? Not mad. I wouldn't be mad.
No, I'd be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. But also as well that it was heavily implied that Toronto really wants to get it done before July 1st, but I have just so that doesn't give Bertuzzi the option to explore free agency. So they have about a month to get that one signed off. So yeah, that's on that. Also as well in terms of other Leafs news, apparently now professional golfer Rory McIlroy is a Leafs insider. that was something where I was reading that article for like the golf aspect of it, because this past weekend it was the Canadian Open, which is like one of maybe 3 or 4 golf tournaments a year that I like somewhat follow, aka I'll watch the last like 5 holes on Sunday. It's because I care. Also, my parents were there, and so then next time they call me, like I could talk to them about it and be like, "Oh, what a crazy finish that was," or something. Also, last year was a flair for the dramatics, in terms of, like Nick Taylor, who's Canadian, won with like a 72-foot putt, which is absolutely mental. So yeah, I watch. I dabble
I'm just
in
nodding
golf
my head, being like, I don't have a clue what any of that means, but like, good for him.
Yes, good for him. Good for Canadian golf as well. But anyways, there was an article put out by Sportsnet, in which Rory McIlroy was talking about how like whatever he was like, I love coming to Canadian Open. I want to come for like as long as I can, as long as they'll let me play. And then he also said, and this is kind of what caught my eye, and I think caught the eye of a lot of people, is that he talked about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I was like, who is asking Rory McIlroy about the Toronto? Who is asking Northern Irish golfer Rory McIlroy for his opinion on the Toronto Maple Leafs? I think we've lost the plot here.
It's all about the Leafs.
It's all about the Leafs. I mean, the past 3 years of the Canadian Open, including 2 years ago where he won, which took place actually like in Toronto.
Hi.
Maroon 5 performed on my like high school's football field that year because of it.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, it was really weird. It was like anyways, it was like a weird mini high school reunion where I was like looking through people's like stories afterwards. I'm like, too many people I went to high school with were there. Thank God I didn't go.
Oh. Dear.
Anyways, but he was talked about the Leafs, in which he said, here, I'm just going to read it, and then we can discuss. McIlroy admitted earlier in the week that he had never been to a hockey game, but if any Border Patrol officers were questioning his Canadian intentions, he did say it would be amazing to attend a Toronto Maple Leafs game if they were in the playoffs during next year's Canadian Open.
Well.
Well, Rory, that means a lot of things have to work out for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Been a hot second since we've seen Leafs hockey in June. I actually love how he's like, during next year's Canadian Open, if the Leafs are happy, like I'd be like, Rory, you are way more optimistic than the rest of us. But anyways, continuing on, he had dinner with someone who was intimately involved with the team this week and even picked up a few points about the team's recent moves. Sounds like they're making some changes this offseason, and hopefully that's the catalyst to hopefully making a run in the playoffs and maybe getting that Stanley Cup, McIlroy said. Look, I'm going to say it, and it's not even going to be that big of a secret about who he was talking about, who's intimately involved. And I tweeted this out, like it was hidden in the replies, because when I tweeted this clip out, I was like, Rory McIlroy, Hockey Insider. And the thing is, I think I know exactly who he was talking to. Odds are. And that is Keith Pelley, who is the new CEO of MLSE. Because Keith Pelley it's not even a crazy thing where I'm like, I know this because of like this deep dive Google search I didn't. No, you just have to Google Keith Pelley. And before coming to MLSE, since 2015, he had been the president of the European Tour, European PGA Tour, which is the same tour that Rory McIlroy has won previous years, including the year that Keith Pelley first took charge of the tournament. And also as well has like played on a couple of Ryder Cup teams for Team Europe, which is put together by the European PGA Tour. And also as well, Rory McIlroy still holds his European PGA Tour card. So I have a feeling that those two probably know each other well enough to grab dinner.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy inference. Like, it's not some crazy, like, thing to interpret. Like it's not like I'm hacking into Royal McIlroy's like phone, or like I'm like stalking him and like taking like paparazzi pictures of him at some like downtown Toronto restaurant or something. And this is truly me making it like not even a Google search. This is just me knowing what I know about Keith Pelly and knowing what I know about Roy McIlroy. Being like, odds are this is who he was talking to, who's intimately involved with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I love the phrasing of just intimately involved, because I'm like, you have, out of all the words you could have picked, you went for intimately involved. And I'm obsessed.
Roy McIlroy always has been that like kind of guy. I don't know. I had like a weird childhood crush on him, but I was like 11. Who didn't? I think he's like one of, actually, my mom's gonna hate me for saying this, but I think he's one of my mom's celebrity crushes, because that woman, without fail, will post pictures of him at every Canadian Open that she goes to. She's been like she's been to the past like 3 years. She's been to like the Sunday and will take pictures of him, and like even if she's posting like no one, like even if she posts no other golf, she will post pictures of Roy McIlroy every single year. And I was like, honestly,
good for her. Good for her.
She's gonna text me after this and be like, I do not have a crush on Roy McIlroy. I was like, Mom, it's okay to admit.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have celebrity crushes too. It's fine.
Yeah, we all have our celebrity crushes.
She should see my camera roll of just like Joseph Wool pictures.
Yep, it's bad.
Sidney Crosby. Yep. Been on that list since 2009. I guess I was conscious enough to be like, yeah, that's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. He was like, yeah.
I'll own it.
I love that.
Yeah. Also as well, I do want to say my favorite, I as much as I hate the Mitch Marner trade rumors, I will say my favorite one that I saw this past week was Marner for Brady Tkachuk.
I
saw that and I sent that to you with LOL.
I want to know where people come up with this shit. Like,
it's so it's obviously like it comes up from people who are like, hey, these are both guys who are rumored to like get traded from their Canadian teams. Well, like Ottawa needs like really talented like top line winger, and Toronto, why does Toronto needs grit? Apparently. Brady Tkachuk. I will say though, what are we gonna do with Brady Tkachuk? Is what? Isn't he a center too?
yeah.
Oh no, he is a winger. So I will say I have seen lineups where he has played center though. That's the thing.
Mm. Yeah. It's like, what are we gonna do with Boss Baby on our team?
I don't know. I think it's because like he also is going into a no move contract. Like after this, like after the 24-25 season, his contract enters a no move. So I don't know, but like I will say though. Oh god. So I was like, I don't know. I saw that and I was like, this is like, oh come on, guys. Really?
Like,
that's what we're doing right now?
For real.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like saw that and I was like, that's my favorite. Like maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll just like start like picking up the most absolutely absurd Marner trade.
I've got an absurd Marner trade for you. This is one that I saw earlier. I'm gonna have to hunt the tweet down. But I remember it, and I feel like this is gonna stick with me for a while, just because of how batshit It is. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this, Emma?
Go ahead.
Mitch Marner to Colorado for Josh Manson.
Who?
Josh Manson. You have to be familiar.
I had to Google him.
He's like one of my little guys. But also like
He's 32 years old.
I saw that earlier and it really stuck with me because I was like, what the fuck?
He's 32. His salary, hold on. He's 32 years old. He's also a defenseman. Where's this man's cap friendly page? Hold on. Why is it so far down? Why do I have to?
I saw that and it
He
really.
has a modified no move trade, like a modified no trade clause. With a 12-team no, he has a 12-team no trade list. I can guarantee you the Toronto Maple Leafs are one of those teams.
Yeah.
4.5 mil. Are you kidding? A 32-year-old defenseman?
Well, I'm gonna have to find this tweet now.
Who said this? Is it a 1-for-1 or is there more pieces? Because this can't be it. This can't be the only thing you're gonna do. If you're doing a 1-for-1.
Oh my
god.
I don't know where. I can't find it. I can't find this tweet, but it really made me giggle. I don't think it was a 1-for-1, but I also don't think it was any better. Oh my god, where is it? Okay, I straight up cannot find this tweet anymore, and I think it might have been deleted because people were bullying him for it. But that was a tweet that I saw, and I was very, what is going on? Like, I say I'm delusional. I'm not that delusional. Like,
sorry, it's the fact that I had to look up Josh Manson. That should tell you everything you need to know.
I can't believe you didn't know Josh Manson.
No, I normally do not stay up late enough to watch Colorado Avalanche games.
I mean, neither do I, but like, I think it's because
I
he's one of my little guys.
I also don't really closely follow the Colorado Avalanche because I just don't. I picked Minnesota instead, and we saw how that worked out for me.
Yeah, I think the trade was like Marner for Manson and a pick, and I was like, that's not any better. Like,
oh yeah, why don't we just throw in some magic beans on top to really sweeten the deal?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I wish I could live a life as far removed from like any form of sanity
reality.
Came up with that.
Reality.
Yeah. Just. Oh. It must be
also
nice
as well. Oh, it truly must be. I guess it is gonna. I guess they do have a first they could do because it. Yeah. All right. I was about to say if Colorado doesn't have any first round picks, what are we doing? I guess I wanted to talk about one more Leafs related thing, and that was the article about Mike Babcock and The Athletic that came out over the weekend.
Yeah.
You knew I didn't even put it in the notes. You knew I was going to talk about it anyways.
Yeah, I had a lovely time reading through that. What a delightful man.
Yeah, and it essentially, a lot of what was talked about in that article was essentially things we already knew. It was just it has become a pretty good one-stop shop, if you will, on like all of the different, I don't want to say incidents, but I guess I will, situations that have taken place throughout Mike Babcock's coaching career, which are heavily frowned upon by a lot of rational fans.
Yeah.
And also like players and other coaches and things like that. I like to point out some, like, obviously what got him fired in Columbus before the season even started, what happened between him and Mitch Marner during Marner's rookie season, among various things. And then of course, obviously also like famously benching Mike Modano. So he never hit his 1,500 game. I've like Mike Modano, like, never been a Red Wings fan, never been a Stars fan, whatever.
However,
but like, I am pissed. I am still mad about that for Mike Modano. I'm sure he's probably gotten over it and whatever. But
I'm sorry. If that happened to me, you would be seeing me on the news, and I would never let that go. I would stew on that. I would let that anger just build up, and then just put me in a room with Mr. Mike Babcock. Put me in a room with him. I dare you.
Yeah. And all of this was kind of, it seemed to almost be kind of spurred by after the Bruins eliminated the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jim Montgomery said in his post game that he received advice from Mike Babcock, and I think Toronto media really latched onto that because they were like, "Oh my God, like look at this, like former NHL coach, not just a former NHL coach who's been ousted essentially from the league. Like it seems like he'll never get an NHL job again." He's also been fired. Like he's giving advice to the person who's playing his former team. Like that's Toronto media latched onto that like crazy. Right? But it is like Mike Babcock, it was, his behavior was notorious. Anyway, what I will say, I think I want to say there was a couple things. It was like, yeah. Anyways, it talked about like Howie very representative of a very old school idea and philosophy within the NHL, where it's like very hard nosed, almost like cruel sort of way to treat players as a coach, right? That is not existent and like doesn't exist in the NHL in the same way that it did in the late 90s, early 2000s. Right?
Yeah.
One of the quotes here is, and this one really stood out to me. Montgomery also said out loud what people around hockey quietly admit. Babcock may be officially out of the game, but many NHL coaches and executives still respect and consult him, and he maintains a hold within the league's establishment. The issue is he's a powerful guy still, said one of Babcock's former players, who, like some others, asked not to be named because he still fears reprisal from within the NHL, and he's connected with a lot of influential people. That I think is probably the most important two, like it was like part of one paragraph and then an entire other paragraph. Out of that entire article, I think that's like the biggest thing that we should take away from that is like is like this, we like still holds a level of respect within the NHL among coaches and executives despite his reputation. I think that's crazy. Like he may not, like he's never gonna get another job, especially like, especially after you got fired from Columbus. Like, I think no team wants that sort of.
No. So I think the fact that he didn't even make the start of the season,
didn't even make training camp.
No, he didn't even make training. Like, that's arguably hilarious. And also, it definitely made it a lot worse than if it happened like mid-season. Because it's like, if he's doing that,
nothing else was going on at that time.
Yeah, nothing else was going on. And also, if he's doing that before the start of the season, that's not like indicating that it's gonna go in any sort of positive direction for them. Also, that's very much setting it up to be a horrible, horrible season for them.
Especially like if you look at the Columbus Blue Jackets, they were incredibly, like, they were a very young team with a lot of young prospects, and like,
do you really want that around your young players?
You know, like your next star and Adam Fantilli.
It's like you want to get a good coach, not one that will potentially be a dick.
Yeah. Eloquently put.
Yeah, I have a way with words. I was thinking, like, how can I put this nicely? And then I was like, I don't think I can.
Yeah. But like, and this is the thing that, like, I think, oh, your TV just turned off. Bye-bye, bed.
No.
I think this will be something that is kind of very indicative on the ecosystem within the NHL and within hockey that I think always continue to exist, unfortunately, because it's the societal culture of the league and how it was built foundationally, going all the way back to the start, is that it very much is a thing of like, you, like, no one really, like, it's a never evolving circle of guys, you know, like, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
You know, guys never, like, once you get in, you're kind of in, and then you don't really leave. Like, you may, like, get fired, but, like, probably, you know, give yourself couple weeks to a couple years, you may find yourself back in a head coach position within the league. And like, you can see it even here with like with Babcock. Like, yeah, okay, he hasn't, like, it took him 7 years, however the length of his stupid contract with Toronto was, whatever, 5 years to get rehired in the NHL. And in that time, he went and coached the University of Saskatchewan's men's team. Which, like, if I was some university kid and I had Mike Babcock on my
oh boy.
Oh brother, I'm sure I would not be getting any sort of flexibility and when it comes to final season, but I'm sure you'd be very, very, very against the mentality that student athletes are students first and athletes second. But I digress. But and then and as soon as his contract with the Leafs was up, essentially, and I think that's kind of what it was. It's like, until his contract with the Leafs was up, he couldn't really take up another position in the NHL. I believe that's what it is, and that's why he stayed out for so long. And then as soon as that contract was up, it was like, oh, he's rumored for these 7 teams. You noticed. And that's why, like, he was never really out of the NHL. He just was just lurking there in the background. And then as soon as he was given the opportunity to come back in, he did. And then obviously, of course, then got fired very quickly afterwards, after some like, that's I think the craziest part of that whole story and that whole tale, which is something we haven't really talked about on the show because it happened before we started the podcast. And the less we talk about Mike Babcock on the show, the better, I think, in my opinion.
Happy we are.
I say as we sit here and have a whole full-on discussion about him. But I think it's more indicative of, like, the nature of the NHL and how it is as a culture, where it's like, it very much is still an old boys club, and you can try and convince yourself as much as you want that it is not, But I think what has happened in this sense of like how he's still very respected within the NHL and coaches and executives still go to him for advice is still very true and indicative of how, you know, it still is an old like an old boys club, as much as we want to say it's not. But I think the craziest part about that whole story is the fact that like it was Spit and Chicklets that sort of broke the story, and everyone was like, oh, that's bullshit because it's Paul Bissonnette who tried to fight the mascot of the Seattle Kraken on live TV, who said that on his Barstool Sports podcast. Oh yeah. And then it turns out to be true, and everyone was like, oh.
Like, sorry for doubting you, I guess.
Sorry for doubting you, Biz. Who also, like, one of his... I'm sorry. So apologies to Paul Bissonnette, but Biz Nasty sounds like the type of nickname that you would give yourself and then try and convince everyone to call you, and no one would.
No, it's a British SoundCloud rapper. There's probably
doesn't even have to be British. It doesn't. Not even British SoundCloud. Just SoundCloud rapper. I think you didn't. You. I would have said.
It's because
Toronto
I know
SoundCloud
multiple
rapper.
people who attempted to become SoundCloud rappers who had names similar. So I
think just SoundCloud rapper is a pretty good way of putting it. You don't even have to put British, because I would have said Toronto SoundCloud rapper. So yeah. I think that's just a universal experience. But yeah, like that, I think, anyways, that's like one of the crazy things where I was like, imagine having to because then like it made its way into like the newspaper. Like it was a big story, especially in Toronto, because it's Mike Babcock.
Yeah.
But like I then had to explain to my mom the concept of the Spit and Chicklets podcast and who Paul Bissonnette is, and like Brian Whitney. And like I had to explain that to my mother, and I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, this is my life now.
It was like, weirdly enough, maybe we should thank Mike Babcock, because that was kind of like one of the catalysts for us starting this podcast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was this story where it was like I was explaining it to my mom, and I was like, oh my, like trying to explain it to her, and I was like, yeah, like, you know, and explaining like Paul Bissonnette and like Spit and Chicklets and everything. And I think I texted you being like, if I had a podcast right now, like if we had a podcast right now, and then a couple months go by,
and joking about it since like
we've been joking about it all summer.
And then it hit a point where we were just kind of like, what if? What if?
It hit a point where we were like, what if we stopped joking about it and actually made it? And I think it was like 2 weeks from the day we were like, hey, what if we do this, till like we put up our first episode. And even then it was like we were ready to go for like, it was like, even then we like were ready to go for a week, and we just were waiting because we wanted to like start it after the Leafs finished their Sweden trip.
Oh, what a time.
Anyways, that's
how far we've come.
Look how far we've come 56 episodes later.
56? That's crazy.
This is episode 56, but there was one more thing I want to talk about. So we're not ending the show on talking about Mike Babcock. I don't know if you got I don't know if you saw it, but you probably did. There's the guy on Twitter who rates men's suits.
Yep.
Discovered NHL suits.
Oh, gold mine.
Abs.
This is the off-season entertainment we've been waiting for.
Oh, 100%. This is like, it's the thing where it's like, unfortunately for the Dallas Stars, they were the victim. And you know what? Maybe I'm thanking my lucky stars. It's been a hot second since the Leafs have posted suit pics, so we wouldn't have to see
what happens when he gets his hands on pictures of Mitch Marner's hats.
Mitch Marner's hats. Who else notably has god awful suits? I'm like this close to sending him that one Matthew Nye suit that is both too short and too big.
No. Stop it.
Absolutely flames.
Oh my god, he would never live that down.
Like, God, who on the Leafs has like notably like bad suits? They're all like pretty decent. I mean, they're all just really standard, like, you know what I mean, like narrow, skinny legs.
Yeah.
Too tight. I feel like you would have something to say about like how tightly like fitted Max Domi's pants are.
Yeah. I want to know what he thinks about the Matthew Nyes print mixing.
I would love to know what he thinks about the Matthew Nyes print mixing, and I'm very afraid that Matthew Nyes had been bullied out of the print mixing because it's been a hot second since we've seen that flowered shirt.
So sad. I am like a ride or die. I will defend Matthew Nyes' print mixing. I will go to war. Let that man wear a flowery shirt if he wants.
Trying to think of like what like I think he would have some pretty positive things to say about William Nylander. He has good suits. I'm trying to like think in my head like who had some like notably bad suits.
I don't think anything's like really stood out apart from the Matthew Nyes too big, too small.
Too short, too big. That was a classic, man.
Oh. But no, I don't.
But I'm like trying to think of like who had like no. I think you know what the problem is that they weren't necessarily bad, more than they were just like boring.
Yeah, we had a lot of quite boring suits. She said, you know what I want to see? I want to see some outrageous suits next season. I want to see something that you just look at and think, like, how is this legal? Like, I want someone in like a blue, like shiny metallic suit. Like, you know the material I'm on about. I want someone in one of those.
Actually, you know what I would love to see him comment on? Remember those stupid drawstring dress pants that went through the Leafs locker room this season like wildfire?
All dust pants.
Why did every single guy like have a pair of dress pants that had a drawstring on them? I'm like just flipping through like the picture, like some like suit pics right now.
Like, just in what world?
Ilya Lyubushkin was wearing a pair in Montreal, which was like his first game with them. So this means it's a league episode.
I know what I'm gonna wear.
This means it's a league epidemic then if he's coming over from Anaheim with those things.
No, do you reckon he just sat there and went, right, first game, new team, let's pull out my finest suit.
But I will say, like, you know, I did talk about how, like, I did tweet about this. It's like how all of the guys in the Leafs, like, there's that one white shirt with the blue button thing that they all have, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're sharing a suit. It does mean that they're all going to the same guy for their suits, though, because, and this is something I learned in going with my boyfriend to pick out his first suit for his cousin's wedding that's coming up, is that they, like, the shirts, they just, like, pick them off the rack, like not off the rack, they pick them off. They have a shelf of all these shirts, and this is where I'm just mad at like women's clothing. They'll just pick one off and it's like, oh, here, you're wearing this size jacket, this is what size shirt you should wear. And no changes need to be made.
What?
I literally sat.
How nice
I went into that whole experience expecting us to be there for like at least an hour. Simon had his suit picked out and ready with 2 shirts that he had already tried on. 30 minutes.
If only.
And I was like,
what
really?
do you mean?
Really? Never in my life have I tried, like, especially because it's like, oh, like pants, right? I'm like, okay, I get like if you like a jacket, like there's you know, you can have like your size, which is just like your shoulder width, and then like long, short, regular, whatever, right? Not so crazy the concept, but like pants, right? Like I'm like in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, so it's like when I try on jeans, right?
Well,
that's the mentality I'm going this into. He tried on 2 pairs. He tried on 2 pairs of pants, and then we were done. And I sat there like, bro, what the fuck?
I'm sorry, it takes me 3 hours.
And you
to
saw
find
the
a pair of
picture.
jeans I like. Never mind a pair of jeans that fit.
Exactly. And I sent you the picture of him in his suit, right? I sent you that picture. I took a little picture. He looked incredibly uncomfortable and awkward in it because he had both me and his dad standing there like, okay, cheese.
Smile
at the same time. Exactly what it was giving off. It fit him nicely. Like, okay, the pants are a little bit long. He has to get those hemmed, but like it fit him nicely. 30 minutes. I think we spent longer looking at suits afterwards when we were done. Because me and his dad were like looking up and down the aisles, and I was like, I like this dark green one. His dad was like, I like this pink and blue plaid one. And we were like, oh, look at these and the fun little patterns on the inside. And then we had a lengthy conversation. And then like as we were leaving, like one of his friends from mountain biking walked in, and they had this lengthy conversation where I just sat there like, cool. Never met this 6, 7, 17-year-old in my life. I kid you not. Kid was 6, 7. And I was like looking up like, nice to meet you.
He was like, hi.
I was like, oh, so this is what it's like to interact with Matt Rempe. I already got that experience because my cousin's boyfriend is also like 6'8" and is from Calgary and is like the same age as Matt Rempe, and also like they look freakishly similar. I sent you the picture of him, right?
They do look very similar. It's a bit spooky.
Like it's a bit spooky where I was like,
it's like, what are you doing here? Don't you have a hockey game to play?
Especially when I saw him at Easter too. I was like, wait a minute.
You're just like, yeah.
He's really nice, but it was like a weird thing where I was like, well, because it's like when I met him at Thanksgiving for the first time, I wasn't really familiar with Matt Rempe. Apologies, I'm not really paying attention to the AHL affiliates of New York Rangers. But when I saw him at Easter, this was like after like the Matt Rempe like phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
Like
it is really funny though, because that he is this like, you know, he takes up a large physical presence when he walks into a room, mostly because he's 6'8". He's a very nice guy. Very nice guy. I do like him. I think he's great for my boyfriend. I think he's a great boyfriend for my cousin. Jesus. But it was so funny because my dad and my uncle organized like an Easter egg hunt at Easter for us, and like to see this guy just like run around through like the trees looking for Easter eggs, absolutely hilarious. Yeah, literally frolicking through the trees looking for plastic Easter eggs.
Oh, brilliant.
Little like Lululemon bag as a makeshift like that. We were all just like had like Lululemon bags as like makeshift like baskets. Like the little like lunch bag sized ones.
Oh dear.
As like baskets, and we were like, and he was like, da, 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 da.
He's like skipping away, swinging his arms.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways. With that being said, We should end it here.
Yeah. I think we've hit a point.
We've hit a point. We'll be back with an episode talking about who knows what on Thursday. Someone sign a contract, someone make a trade.
Please.
For my sanity. Because
save Emma from my Letterboxd reviews.
Or we'll just have to like get someone on to do like a really, really early like free agency preview or something like that. I don't know. I think we could probably we could find someone.
Yeah.
But the open cast, we like
send your self-tapes to the
self-tapes audition process. I'm sure there's I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. We'll figure it out. I don't know.
Something will happen.
Something will happen. We figure it out no matter what. We usually do. With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's fourth with the number 4TH. You can follow Marcy on Twitter at 60 Leafs. You can follow myself at PearB1. Thank you so much for listening yet again. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.